What's going on, y'all? It's your boy here, of course, the combat consultant, soundboard god, Jacob Cooperman. And hey, happy 2025. We do have some interesting news, though, to get through, specifically the McGregor versus Logan Paul fight, which is rumored to be taking place in India as a part of a Visit India tour campaign. I've got the details, and I want to give my honest reaction to it. But first, I just want to say thank you so much for 600 subscribers. We are growing this thing to the moon. I already know that this channel can be successful, so to those that have been watching my stuff, have notifications on, all that, I just want to give you guys a huge shout out. And for those that are new to the channel, listen, thank you so much for subscribing. Let's keep this thing rolling. I want to bring out new forms of content for the new year. But for now, this is going to be a classic. And if you're new, I bet I can earn your subscription by the end of this video, whether you're mad at my take or not. For those that don't know, McGregor has gotten himself into some boiling water, to say the least. He was found guilty in a civil court of rape charges, and so now his career is kind of in an interesting position. He hasn't fought since the last Poirier fight where his leg was absolutely demolished. He was on a 2-fight losing streak anyways, and he still has 2 fights on his UFC contract. Was supposed to come back against Michael Chandler. That never materialized. And now again, he has those legal troubles. So to say that 2024 for McGregor was not a great year, I think would be an understatement. I think he's also enjoying his lavish life that he gets to live, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And I've come out in the past and said, if he doesn't want to fight again, who are we, the fan base, to stop him? I know so many people are calling for him to come back into the octagon. I get that he's a fun guy to watch, but I think what a lot of people take also issue with is the fact that, yeah, he is 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? He'll post a training video, and then he'll post a video of him partying on his yacht. And it's like, the dedication really isn't there. And especially for a guy that's saying that he wants to get back in there and wants to fight and wants to do all these things, what we're seeing as the general public is not lining up with what McGregor's sentiments are. So when I see something like this come up, I get a little bit suspicious. Now, like I said, I have the fine details of this fight. It's going to be taking place at the Wankhede Stadium, which is apparently a very large cricket stadium over in India. And it's going to be funded by the Albani family, which is reportedly one of the richest families in the world. McGregor's estimated payout, or the purse for this one, will be $250 million, enough to undoubtedly cover all of those legal charges and any other charges he's incurred, because now some of his companies, like Forged Irish Stout, have cut ties with him. But yeah, that $250 million is going to be enough for him to financially recover at the very least. I mean, he's already got so much money. I doubt that he was ever in real financial trouble. But in one night's work, and I hesitate to even say work, but one night's light work against a Paul brother, he will make enough to keep his great-great-great-great-great-grandson financially set. And the first thing I thought when I saw this post, besides this fight has to be fake, is that this fight also has to be, if it is going to be legitimate, probably more of an exhibition, right? It's going to be something, and Logan Paul, weirdly enough, we'll get into this later in the video, but weirdly, he's the guy out of the 2 Paul brothers, which I also find to be very suspicious, that always gets these bigger fights. Like, it's never Jake Paul, the guy that's actually invested a ton of time into boxing and is undoubtedly the better out of the 2 of them. But I thought this was going to be a rub. I think it's going to be something where Logan is going to try and take his head off. McGregor's most likely going to stay technical. I see this playing out very similarly to the Mayweather fight that Logan had, where it's like, okay, you know what? We both know why we're in here. We're both going to make a ton of money. Well, allegedly, I don't know if Logan Paul has ever been paid for that first Mayweather fight, or if what he alleges is true is that he was never paid. But regardless, I mean, it just seems so wacky that McGregor would be fighting a guy like Logan Paul that's probably half his size, doesn't have nearly the same amount of experience. It's like if McGregor pulled a beginner's trial class guy out of his gym and said, all right, I'm going to be facing you for the championship. Kind of actually very similar to that, because you know those like big roided up beefy dudes that come in, the bodybuilders that come in on a trial class, for anyone that actively pursues martial arts, you guys know the person I'm talking about, and swings out of his shoes. That's the vibe that I get from this fight, is that it's probably not going to be that serious. Well, at least for McGregor. Logan Paul, I think, is going to take this way more serious, because to take off the head of a guy that's half your size but has the status of McGregor, for him, we've seen, would be a very big deal, where he was coping and seething about how he thought he won against Mayweather. This fight, and it's weird because I kind of felt the opposite way about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. This fight kind of stinks like a big sham to me. There's also the fact, and I don't know if any of you guys knew this, that India is a huge marketplace for the WWE. That should also clue you in on the fact that this is probably going to be more of a dog and pony show than anything else, and a legitimate fight. It's probably going to be for, if I had to guess, that huge family and other rich, wealthy people to connect and kind of just talk business at, right? It's like, okay, we have these 2 guys, you're going to go in and you're going to do our bidding and you're going to put on a show for us. I don't think there'd be any difference than if there was a comedy show. This is all for entertainment. And it sounds stupid to say, because obviously all fights are for entertainment, but you're not going to get this in the UFC, obviously. You're not going to get this in any legitimate organization. This is entertainment to much more of an extent than the rest of the stuff out there. I believe this is going to be probably like 5 to 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds, something very similar, I'd imagine, to the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson rule set, where it's like, okay, you know, there might be no knockdowns, something stupid like that that's baked in. I mean, I really just, I don't agree with this fight. It doesn't make any sense to me on a large scale. On a fighter-to-fighter basis, I mean, if McGregor needs to get his money, go get his money. If Logan Paul needs to get his money, go get his money. It's far more dangerous for him if they are legitimately going to try to go after each other for Logan Paul to step in there. But hey, $250 million, I might box McGregor in India. Actually, for $250 million, I'd box prime Mike Tyson, knowing that I was going to get absolutely shafted because it's $250 million. I mean, I'd have to assume also that they're going to be paid somewhat equally, even if it's like a 60-40 split. $250 million, 20% less of whatever that payout is, still has to be an ungodly amount of money. Both guys have released training footage. You know, McGregor's the same thing. He always looks technically good, and you know, he always gets weirdly tired on the bag. There's not been a single video I've seen from him in the last like 2 years where he's been sparring, he's been hitting the bag, and I haven't seen him heavy breathing after the fact. I mean, Logan Paul just looks ridiculous. Here's the training footage that I saw from him. He looks like an absolute goofball, leaving his chin wide open, throwing with his arms, no footwork involved. It's going to be an absolute shit show. And I hate to say it, but this fight's going to have a lot of viewership. Like, I'm probably going to tune in to watch just to see what happens. And that is kind of the bane of the existence of these bigger fights, is they're gimmicky, they're shammy, and everyone's going to want to see exactly what McGregor does to Logan Paul or what Logan Paul does to McGregor. Because I hate to say it, you get a guy that's twice your size, he catches you with something good, it could be ended really quickly. I hate to say it, but that's just the way it goes. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think McGregor's just going to, again, cruise to a victory, and we won't be talking about this fight 2 months down the line. It's also funny because I love how Saudi Arabians are the ones that are like, yeah, we're going to actually put on massive fights. And the Indians are like, dude, hold my beer. I'm going to make Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor. Who fought? I want to know why this royal family funded this. What are they up to? What are they scheming? Is this a tax write-off? There's no way that they're dropping $250 million a piece. One fighter is taking in $250 million. Dude, the scope of this event has to be massive. Then there's my other questions, and this is as of this recording. I don't have the entire story. I've looked it up and I've done my research on it. What streaming platform, what promotion does this fall under? Is this going to be a Netflix thing like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? Is this going to be on DAZN? I mean, I'm sure they're going to strike some sort of a deal, pen a deal almost instantaneously, because who doesn't want to get in on a cut of that? But I mean, dude, there's so many questions about this. I'm actually kind of, in an unironic way, interested in how much of a train wreck this could potentially be or could potentially not be. I'm going to keep you guys updated on it. And without further ado, again, I thank you guys so much for tuning in, hitting the subscribe button. We're going to be going to so many events this year, and we're going to be having a lot of fun. Keep your eyes out for a new show that I've been working on as well with Knuckletown, their official bare knuckle fighting channel. I'm going to be interviewing fighters on that. We might have some big interviews down the road. So stay tuned. 2025 is our year, and I love you guys very much. Without further ado, it's been your boy, the combat consultant, the soundboard god, Jacob Cooperman, and I'll see you in the next one.